What's up, YouTube? ODST General back again, and it is time for the Operation Trebuchet First Contact update. Pretty awesome stuff. Now, I'm just going to do this off the cuff here because I've recorded this a couple times and I just haven't liked it so far. So let's go ahead, let's get into it. Patch notes didn't really cover everything, so the biggest things are new elites, new Covenant vehicles, Covenant weapons, Covenant structures, all sorts of stuff. But let's go ahead, let's check it out. So going through here, I've got weapons box, but well, you know what, might as well check it out now. The weapons seem to be kind of somewhat borked right now, so I don't know exactly if these values and stuff that these things are actually firing at are correct, so we're not going to test them out too deeply here. Just actually basically showing them off. So obviously we had the current plasma rifle that was in already. The Type J version, which is the brute version, has been added. Now I can't really tell if there's a difference in fire rate on this thing or not. It seems to be a slightly faster firing one, but it's hard to tell for sure. And go back in. We've got the beam rifle. So one thing you can kind of see here too is that they've all got custom crosshairs, custom scopes for the appropriate ones. So yeah, some of the weapons are missing, like muzzle flash and stuff like that too, which is a known bug. There was supposed to be a hotfix last night, which got pushed into today, and it's coming up on tomorrow, and we still don't have the hotfix yet, so I'm not sure quite what's going on with it. I think there's more bugs than what was expected, though. Custom reload animation for it. Really cool looking weapon, but this seems to actually be one of the weaker weapons in the release for some reason. I don't know quite what's up with that. But the plasma rifles, at least for right now, are significantly more effective than the carbine here. I'm just going to make a quick adjustment on my mic, guys. Hopefully that's a little bit better. It seems like the volumes and stuff kind of a bit low still. I'm not sure what's going on with that. Of course, going back to a weapon we already had, which is the plasma repeater, which also has a brute variant. Now, you will notice that the plasma pistol was missing, and that's because the plasma pistol, along with other versions of the plasma rifles, have been moved over to the pistol slot. So we actually have a plasma pistol, so you can actually use this as a sidearm. Now, an interesting fact is that when talking about these, one of the developers was saying that like all these weapons are sized to the elites, except for the plasma pistol, which has been sized to a grunt. Now, I asked him how development was going on the grunts, which has not been publicly talked about, and he basically said that it's they have to like do a complete animation set, but it sounds like the development team has been trying to tool around with grunts in the background. Nothing super concrete yet there, but kind of an interesting little fact for you guys. Anyways, let's go ahead, let's continue on. So we've got all the weapons here. Then we've got new structures. So we've got just basically like a pylon or whatever. Nothing too crazy or fancy about this. It's just a structure. Got some additional wall pieces, curved walls, and straight walls. I'll get to these guys in a second. The Covenant Sniper Tower, which is cool. Obviously no gravity lift, but there is a invisible ladder. And I'm not going to go up into it. You guys can do that in your own time, but well, it does work. You can go up there and everything. The deployable shield has been also made into a structure. You can still get this through the inventory, so you can still get this as a placeable backpack object or whatever explosive device that you pop down and set it off. But it's also available now as a structure too, so you can place it through Eden Editor or set it up to scripting or whatever. So let's go ahead, let's talk about these guys. We'll start with the UNSC guys first. So the tiny little humans here are crouched down so we can look at these guys basically head on. Anyways, there we go, that's better. These guys have gotten some new armors and stuff, so you can see there's like a sniper variant for the Halo 3 Marines, and like a brown armor. There's a bunch of different camouflages too. These are just a couple samples. There's a bunch more that weren't included here. Bunch of new Spartan armor. So the Spartan armor has been changed quite a bit as far as that goes. So these things have hidden selections now, so you can actually retexture the Spartan armor if you know how to do that. Custom developer armor for Netto, Vizard, and Freeman. Got the red versus blue Spartan armors were added in, so a couple of colors here, obviously, but there's a lot more than that. This new olive camouflage for the Spartans. So this isn't the standard one, but it's a little bit darker version that tends to blend a little bit better with the other Spartan armor that's already in the mod. And that brings us to the elites. Now, as you can tell, this is probably I would say the coolest thing in this update, or at least up there for the coolest. That's interesting. Oh, there we go. Oh, I made a bug. That's not good. Okay. So we're going to stick in first person, I guess. Oopsies. Anyways. Custom armor for Vespade here. So he's got his custom elite. So this is an Ultra combined with an Honor Guard. And he took the shoulder pads from the Honor Guard and stuck it on the head. Pretty cool design, so definitely dig in Vespade's custom elite here. I suspect a lot of people will end up using that too, even though it's not actually something from the lore. It seems to be pretty popular. Then we've got the Elite Zealot here, the regular Ultra, the Ranger, which is a little bit different than the other version of the Ranger. This is just like a purple skinned version of the standard Elite armor. The standard Elite armor has also been overhauled slightly. I think it's gotten a little bit more wear and tear. It definitely looks a little bit better than the previous release, which was still really good looking. My personal favorite, the Honor Guard here, so pretty cool guy, and then the Field Marshal next to him there, which they kind of share the same armor a little bit. There's some minor tweaks between the two, but it's pretty similar overall. Another bug here is that we can't get in these turrets, unfortunately, but they all use the same weapons as the Banshees and the Spirit dropships. So this thing here is the Draugr turret from Halo Wars. It uses the same turret as the Spirit there, so when I go to test out the Spirit's weapon, just imagine this thing shooting those rounds. The Fuel Rod Shade turret, so I mean it's a Fuel Rod, you'll see that with the Banshee. Standard Shade turret uses the same weapon as the regular Banshee there. And then the Shrike turret, which is the destroyer of all air vehicles, apparently. So, I don't think I can get in any of these. I know those two I can't for sure. Now, I could just place the units in them through editor and then do that, but I don't want this to take forever. So with the Banshees, let's go ahead, let's hop into this one. So we've got the Space Banshee here. First person is just this camera, that's all it is. Unfortunately, no Covenant UI yet, but that will come eventually. It's got two weapons modes. You can see Type 56 Shrike anti-air turret. Super rapid firing Banshee here. Pretty devastating air superiority vehicle. And Fuel Rod, which seemed to pack a pretty good punch. Now, these are all VTOL. All the Banshees are VTOL, so that's going to be kind of hit and miss. They're very, very maneuverable, though. As far as VTOLs go, they are probably one of the better ones because if you need to land, they have really good landing gear, so it's pretty hard to die on impact, although you're still probably going to impact. One of the ones I've been super excited for, I've been sitting on like images or knowledge of this thing for ages. I don't think this ever got publicly revealed until the release. I could be wrong, but I was told about this thing like months and months and months ago, and I was told I couldn't share it, so I did exactly that. I went and shared it in a video, but I made it super, super difficult to see, and I didn't talk about it. I just literally threw in the image for like half a second in a video and then scrambled it super bad, so it's pretty much impossible to see. But the really cool concept for the Banshee here, so it's basically using needlers, and the needlers seem to be probably pretty accurate size for what the needler would actually be. Maybe a little large. I don't know. The needler is a pretty big weapon, so those could be about the right size for an actual needler, so maybe we'll see the needler coming from the mod soon. They've obviously got the model. They could just scale it down too if that is too big, so that's pretty easy thing to do. Also comes with the fuel rod as a secondary weapon. That Banshee howl and the engines kick on. They did a very awesome job with the sound effects. I think Night-O-Wizard primarily or pretty much solely headed up doing the custom sound effects for like pretty much all the First Contact stuff, and he did a awesome job getting that or making them or whatever he did. Aces on that, you know. And of course we have the standard Banshee here. So this is using the same weapon system as the standard shade turret. A lot slower firing than the Shrike, but still pretty good. Now, I haven't tested these too much in gameplay proper, but it seems like the Banshees maybe have a hard time engaging targets and stuff, both in the air and on the ground, but it seems to be kind of hit and miss, and it depends on the Banshee too. This thing is the cast variant, and from what I've heard, this is actually a pretty effective cast vehicle from somebody who's been testing it, but like I said, I haven't actually seen it myself, so you guys will have to be the judge of that for yourselves once that gets downloaded or you're actually playing this. So lastly up, we have the Spirit Dropship. Now, this was actually not supposed to even be in this release, so you guys owe Vespade and Drake a super big thank you. The two of them worked super hard to get this thing out into this release instead of pushing this back months, you know, maybe even longer. A little bit different than the actual version, obviously. We've got these struts that come down for landing gear, which aren't part of the normal thing, but other than that, that's not a big deal or too crazy. Probably good to actually be able to see the landing gear for the most part. So let's go ahead, let's hop into it here if I can remember where the pilot seat is. So there's a pilot and a gunner. Let's actually hop into the gunner first. So with the gunner, there isn't a first person, there is only third person, and then the first person camera again. So once again, this is using the same round as the Draugr 2. So kind of a slow firing explosive round, pretty devastating from what I've seen, but I don't know if that's still the case. Like I said, a lot of this stuff's pretty janky right now. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to get out of this, and we're going to get into the pilot seat. So pilot seat here, back in third person. Pilot seat does have a first person, so that's where your co-pilot sits right back there, but there isn't a first person camera for him, unfortunately. So he can't sit there and watch the back of your head. But as the pilot, that opaque area in the front becomes transparent. And you can see out in front of the ship, so you can actually see where you're going to an extent. Obviously, your awareness of what's around you is kind of limited. So you're going to be pretty reliant on radar and stuff like that. Nice little hiss from the troop bay. So the troop bay and the vehicle is both broken right now, so I can't show those off for this video. That's supposed to be fixed in the hotfix. Apparently it's a pretty easy fix too. It was something they were messing around with. But each of those alcoves, or whatever you want to call them, can carry an elite. So there is a ton of elites that end up being in this thing. I mean, just tons and tons of guys. So lots of people, lots of potential firepower devastation from a single one of these. So just imagine, if you will, these things take a little bit of time to get to the ground, but just imagine you're just sitting there as a squad of Marines, and you see one of these things coming up. It's going to be shooting at you with that big turret, nasty turret, and then dropping off, you know, I haven't even counted this out, but I think they go in the between those two areas. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Looks like 16 guys. If I haven't actually counted it out, but that's a lot of elites dropping down on your head. Potentially even more if the pilot and co-pilot get out. But yeah, just ridiculous. And then, like I said, it's supposed to have vehicle-in-vehicle support, so I'm going to go ahead and I'll hop out once again here. So basically, any vehicle that fits between these two pylons here should end up actually being able to be loaded on here. But like I said, it's not working. You can't load them from here. You can't do it in the editor or anything. But it carries like 2 Banshees. I think it can carry like 3 Warthogs or something like that, maybe even more. Pretty ridiculous. Definitely something I really wanted to be able to show off to you guys, but can't, unfortunately. So let's go ahead, let's kick this thing on here real fast. So this thing operates like a helicopter, so this is actually more like a regular vehicle. As far as like the Pelican and stuff like that goes. It does have the forward thrusters like the Pelican does. It has lights, although you can't see them because it's still daytime, obviously. Collision lights seem to also be a thing on this thing somewhere. It's got the eerie howl there. Similar to a Banshee, but a little bit different. Looks like it's got chaff pods there, right in the back, so you can't actually see that, and I guess that will be helpful for avoiding rockets and missiles, although I think this thing can also take a couple of hits. So let's go ahead, let's take off. Bring that landing gear up. So I'm not exactly sure how the center works, because I've seen that they had gravity fields in the center. I can't tell if they removed them, or those could only be active if a vehicle's loaded up. I'm not sure. But normally there's a couple gravity fields. I've been seeing them add on to the center there. So let's throw the forward thruster on here. So yeah, just like the Pelican, it's going to go ahead and turn more jet-like. You do lose a lot of your control and stuff like that. It's a little bit, well, not even a little bit, it's a lot harder to maneuver, but doesn't feel quite as fast as the Pelican. Now, it could be because I'm banking into like a super hard turn here. I keep losing airspeed like crazy, but let's straighten out for a minute here. Let's see what happens. It's interesting. It seems to keep bleeding off the airspeed. I don't know if the Pelican does that too. Where it goes up and it's basically looping around between like 630 kilometers and like 600. So like the Pelican, it stops pretty quick when commanded to disengage the thrusters. Oh, perfect. Okay, well now I don't have to talk about that. I can actually show it to you guys. The elites' voices have been reversed, so the custom elite voices are added into the mod, so you can pick those in the editor. I'm presuming you can also pick them through the main menu too now, with them being added into the mod like that. So if you have an elite character, you're playing part of like an elite clan or something like that, you can just pick the elite voices. There's also a custom elite skins and stuff that are in there, but I don't have the correct mods enabled to be able to actually select those skins in the editor, so can't show those off to you guys, unfortunately, just with the way this is set up and the way the elites and stuff work. But if you're playing as an elite, or you have the option to select the faces and stuff, definitely worth checking out. Otherwise, I do think they're randomly selected when the elites are spawned in, so you'll see different elites with like tribal paints or scars and stuff like that. So pretty neat stuff. Wow, those air brakes are quite effective. So it seems just, yeah, once you go above a certain speed, like 100 kilometers, it looks like you get the air brakes automatically. That just brings it down super fast, knocked like 40 kilometers off of this thing. It does take a little bit of time to get down. Doesn't feel quite as agile as the Pelican, but I'm sure that's okay. Alright guys, that's the First Contact version 0.2 showcase. Let me know what your thoughts are on this stuff. You'll definitely be seeing more of it in the future, but I want to know in the meantime, what are you guys most excited for from this release? What are you guys disappointed didn't make it into the release, and what are you guys looking forward to for the next release? I guess those last year are kind of the same thing, aren't they? Anyway, guys, let me know that stuff in the comments below, and I will see you guys in the next one. Take it easy.